Welcome back to Pickleball for All. This is your host, Jeff Bruni, with my partner in crime, Cooper. Cooper, it seems like forever since I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's an inside joke. So today's episode is going to be, we're going to talk about reading your opponent or opponents in the first 5 points of a game.
Yeah.
And why that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I love to play chess. And so that's one of the reasons I love pickleball is the chess of it, the mental moves that you're making, setting up other shots. Same thing with me being a football guy.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's like, why do they just keep running the ball up the middle? I'm like, because they're setting up a home run ball that they're going to throw down the field.
Keeping your opponent honest.
And so they're picking up on tendencies that the defense is giving, and they're going to capitalize on that. But they want to see it over and over and over, and then they're going to strike. So it's the same thing in pickleball.
Right.
That you want those kind of first 5 points are important in the first game to where you're reading your opponent and figuring out a lot of different things that you're going to use the rest of the day, every time you play them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or first 5 points in a series, best 2 out of 3. You may play you may play 3 games with the same team in a tournament, and those first 5 points in that one first game are going to mean more to you than anything else you have happen, whether win or lose.
Right.
And all the different things you're going to learn from, or be able to learn if you use those 5 points correctly, to help you succeed. So,
yeah, some of the stuff that you're picking up at that point is, how do they consistently return the ball?
Yep.
Are they returning the ball deep every time?
Yep.
Do they change it up?
Right. Are they speeding it up?
Do they speed it up
consistently? Are they playing a soft game? Are they consistently trying to get you to get up to the kitchen? Are they enticing you to the kitchen?
Yeah.
Or are they consistently keeping you back on the baseline? That's their game. Or I think that first thing is see what your opponent is trying to hit first.
Yeah.
Because that'll tell you right off the bat, okay, what did they discuss, behind paddle before that game kicked off? Did they say, okay, seems like these guys maybe play soft game, or, okay, these guys look like guys that are going to talk about you, are you going to drive the ball? Are they going to work their way up to the kitchen? So, like, it's kind of a double game because you're doing the same thing on your side, right? But you want to test your opponent and also see how they're going to test you.
Yep,
in those
absolutely.
First 5 points. And there's a few different ways to go about that.
Well, and in the football world, this is called self-scouting.
Okay.
That you also want to be aware of if you are giving tendencies, right? If you're hitting the ball deep every time.
Right.
So making sure that you're switching it up with the way because like you said, they're reading you just as much as you're reading them.
Yep.
So making sure you self-scout, you're self-aware of anything that you're doing.
Well, you had a good point right there. It just made me think of is, if you're using the first part of your game or maybe let's just say it's 1 point. If you're using that first point to figure out what your opponent can hit, the first shot you give them forehand, next shot you give them, you put it in middle, see how your 2 opponents handle a shot in the middle. Are they communicating who's hitting it?
Yeah.
Or okay, next one you hit a third shot into the dink. We see how they can handle a dink. You hit them a couple of cross shots, hit one in front of them. If you're testing all of those things at the same time that you're trying to figure out their game, you're also showing them that you're not one-dimensional.
Correct.
You're hitting multiple different looks, multiple different shots at them, and that may make your opponent nervous. So they can say, okay, well, maybe they realize they're getting tested.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's great about that is if you do run through the progression of those shots, you can immediately see which ones are weaker and which ones are stronger shots from your opponent.
Do you have a consistent way that you approach this? When you're like in your mind, you're like, okay, I'm gonna hit their backhand first, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that. Do you kind of have a consistency, or you just kind of switch it up?
In tournaments, I do. A lot of times in tournaments, just because based off of how I play, I'm a lot more aggressive player, or I'm a lot more successful when I play aggressive. I will generally just try to hit harder and deep shots to start a game, just to see if my opponent can even hit a third shot drop or handle a deep shot or a hard shot. If I see immediately that but my opponent can neutralize my fast-paced shots and get us to the kitchen immediately, then I'm probably going to know, hey, I can't drive this ball every time and win this game. So that's an immediate marker of, all right, we may be playing a little hybridized version of, some slow dink rallies and also some drives and some hands battles.
Well, and to use a phrase that we talked about a few episodes ago, like placement with purpose.
Right.
Like everything's got to have a purpose.
Yeah, and
where you hit the ball.
Yeah, and it's at my level and higher, which at the 4.0 level, with 4.0 to 4.5 level, you're still seeing there's a lot of bangers, just people that are just there's a lot of guys that have gotten good enough at the sport that they can accurately drive the ball at you.
Yeah,
and they will just drive it until you can't hit it, or drive it until you get a ball in the net. But generally, when you get higher up, I mean, everybody can handle a drive. So at that point, it does become a placement game.
Yep.
Yeah, and the whole point of the game is getting your opponent out of position.
Well, that's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
Because you're also reading their position on the court, right?
Correct.
Their footwork.
How they react to your shot. They're moving to your shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they rush? Do they overrun?
Yep.
Do they overcompensate for a bad backhand by always putting their forehand out there?
Yep.
Right? That's one of the biggest tip-offs to me. Like when they're positioning themselves to hit the forehand instead when they should have been hitting the backhand, I'm
Correct.
like, I'm drilling their backhand every time.
Yep.
I want to get their feet discombobulated.
And that one's kind of there's a caveat to that one, because there's a lot of players now that I know personally and that I've played with that have now been taught, oh, well, if my forehand is my absolute better shot, you've got guys now that the 4 or 5 level that would just move over to receive a forehand if they have time.
Some people have great enough feet where they can do that.
They're agile enough that they can just step over and receive a forehand no matter how hard you're hitting that shot at them. And then there's guys that are taught the opposite, that your backhand should be just as strong as your forehand. That way you're not one-dimensional. So it kind of goes both ways. That's one that you can see easy, depending on who you're playing with. If you don't know, if you jump in a tournament in some town you've never been to and you're playing with a whole group of new people, that one could be a little shady because you don't know which way they're being taught. I say one good marker of realizing if you're playing a patient, consistent player is if you have them at the baseline and you're hitting a drive at them. That's let's say you're hitting the second shot, the return shot, and if they're immediately able to hit a third shot and drop and get you to the kitchen, that's a marker of a consistent player to me. Is that their first shot right off the bat is a good third shot drop. Because that's some of your first touches in a tournament or in a series.
Yep.
And if you're just immediately going and hitting, third shots that are within a foot of the top of the net and hard to receive, that's a marker of a good player.
And I think the third shot drop is the biggest tell that they're nervous. If it's too high,
could be that
if they hit the net. Because think about it,
they're holding the paddle too tight.
It's easy to hammer the ball back being nervous, right?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Like you just hammer it.
Yeah.
But actually having to use some touch, that's
or
when
being confident in that.
Yep. Yeah. That's when that this dude's scared to death.
Well, that's another, to extrapolate on that. Another great point would be, you could figure out the caliber of player you're dealing with by how many steps they take after they're assumed to drop. Let's say they hit a drop, and it's a good drop. They know it's a good drop. Well, a lot of really good players, even if they hit a really good drop, they'll be patient with the steps they take out of the no-go zone or out of the no volley zone or the volley zone. A lot of inconsistent or younger players will know they're about to hit a third shot drop, will hit one. It may be a good one, maybe a bad one. They'll immediately sprint up to the kitchen, expose their opponent. Maybe they didn't communicate to their opponent that they're going to run up immediately.
Yep.
They're looking for that, mistake, that pop up, and they hit it out of the air. Well, that's where a lot of mistakes happen. But a lot of very good players, even if they hit a perfect third shot, they'll hit 2 or 3 perfect third shots and work their way up to the kitchen, hit that 3rd, 5th, and 7th drop.
Yeah, again, we've said it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Those better players, you can see it in their patience on the court.
Yep.
Patience with shot choice.
Yep.
Patience with their footwork.
Right.
Positioning on the court, everything.
Yep. And realizing that, okay, this would be a good one. I think if you're a more advanced player, probably the majority of your shots are not kill shots or shots you're looking to score a point off of.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Again, that
Probably
chess.
75% of your shots are placement and or positioning and or preparation shots for the setup. And
yeah, for sure. Another thing that we're talking shots and we're talking positioning. Another thing within those first 5 points you can really get clarity on are the emotional signals that your opponent's giving.
Mm-hmm.
Do they get ticked at each other when somebody hits it bad?
Yeah.
Do they roll their eyes at each other? Do they not communicate? Like you said, do they not communicate when a ball's in the middle?
Yeah.
Are they blaming one another?
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. You can attack teams like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to get out. They're going to get in their heads really fast.
Oh yeah. Or you may have one that is, more vocal when they make mistakes, and you can tell that person's not as mentally solid. So I don't know. If I'm playing two opponents and I've got one that every time he hits one in the net and he's, getting verbally upset or, visually upset, and the other one's just kind of calm, and no matter what happens in the game, he's, straight faced, I'm probably going to hit it more to the guy that's getting upset when he's hitting shots in the net.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
If I have a guy that's straight faced, even though he's down 5-0, I'm worried about that guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
he's a poker player.
That's a very calm person. Yeah.
For sure. Sure. Well, that's, people don't often think of pickleball as being those first 5 points being really strategic and picking up on all this stuff.
Yeah.
They just get out there and play, right?
Yep.
It's really important. If you want to be good, even if it's just with your buddies,
mm-hmm.
really pay attention those first 5 points to little things, to little details that your opponents, those tells that they're giving you.
Yep. I think across the board, not even just points in a game or the amount of games you have in a tournament, it may be a double elimination, it may be a round robin. Your beginning round, your beginning game, your beginning 5 points in a game, that's all the most important part of tournaments or any games in pickleball, in my opinion. It's mentally positive to win the first, like my MILP tournaments. I tell no matter who I'm playing or whoever I was playing when I played with the Shock or any tournament I played in, whatever players you have on your team, I always tell them, it's like, if we can win this first match, I don't care if we go down 3 matches afterwards. If you win the first one, you're probably going to win more games.
Yeah.
If you lose the first one, everything's going to be an uphill battle from there.
That's right. Totally.
So if you can just immediately, give yourself the upper hand with the first 5 points or the first game in a series of 2 to 3 or the first match in a round robin, that's going to help you out in the long run.
Yeah.
So,
the other important thing that came out in this conversation is not only should you be paying attention to your opponents in the first 5 points, what tells are you giving them?
Yeah.
Yeah. What things are you tipping off to you and your opponent, or you and your teammates' game to them? Make sure that you're not doing that. 'Cause, that could make or break you.
Well, and the same, I guess, just thinking about the same things that you use to pick off your opponent, those same things you should make sure that you're not doing. Like,
absolutely.
You don't want to be that opponent that is vocal and frustrated when he hits shot in the net, because then you're just, you're isolating yourself at that point. Right.
Exactly. I love the chess match of sports.
Yep.
That's I said, that's one reason I love pickleball. It's just
the ultimate chess game. It really is.
I love the mental side of it. Well, hopefully you guys do too. But we appreciate you as always. If you got any topics that you want to hear for us to address, let us know at info@picklecape.com. Make sure you're following us on all of our social channels, and we will see you next time, because here it is pickleball for all.